views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Meetings of the Minds in partnership with BronxNet Television. As you are all aware, these segments were born out of necessity. COVID-19 separated us all, but we still needed to share resources with each other and, more importantly, our community. It is with great honor that I bring to you a dear friend of the New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, someone I consider a phenomenal woman. Why do I say phenomenal woman? Well, when Hurricane Maria hit, the New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce did not stop. We still move forward with going to Puerto Rico to help with the aid. What was realized was that there were women in small towns literally rebuilding their communities. So La-Verna Fountain came up with Phenomenal Woman. Why don't we recognize these incredible women and bring them to the forefront and just make sure that we all rally around them for support? Phenomenal women recognize phenomenal women. La-Verna, how are you and how is your family?
Well, I am delighted to be here. Thank you so much for letting me join you, for talking with all of the viewers. I so appreciate it. My family, like yours, we're taking it day by day. We're here, we're doing the best we can, we're balancing the best we can, and we're making sure we support each other through what is very much an unprecedented time.
Thank you. No, absolutely. And I pray for your family and I pray that, we continue to see everything through, right, with grace and strength. La-Verna, you've had over 30 years of effective business communication, speaking with companies and individuals. What I love about you is that you don't intrude into anyone's life, but with permission, you find the right solutions that work best with them and their circumstances. Can you tell us a little bit about meaningful communications and why do you believe it's important to target businesses?
Well, I have to tell you, for many years, I was in the corporate business or the education realm and working with nonprofits. And when I look back over my life, there was one thread that linked it all together. And it was my strong desire to bridge the divide. I wanted to connect people who were not hearing well from each other. And that's something I did no matter what my title was, no matter what my responsibilities were. My job was to be a bridge among people. So when I retired from Columbia University, though I still teach there, but when I retired from my vice president position, I created Meaningful Communications Matter. At no other time in our recent history do I believe it's more important than now. We must learn how to talk, work, live, play with each other. We are all on this great big boat called the planet Earth. And I believe we have a critical mission, and that's to learn how to care about each other.
And this is so important. I'm glad you mentioned the times, right, in which we live. I mean, with social and racial upheaval, businesses, corporations, even communities are forced to have what we consider uncomfortable conversations, right? Especially mostly through the diversity and inclusion team. Should it always come through the D&I, diversity and inclusion team, or can it come from individuals?
I have to say, I do not believe it has to come through the DNI at all. I believe in order for us to move forward, it's going to have to come from individuals. It's going to have to come through every area of our life. And I get a little concerned because many corporations at this point are putting it into that DNI aspect, not recognizing that it filters through every realm of operation. And it really has to become embedded in the very foundation of who you are.
Mhm. No, agreed. You know, speaking of embedding into the very foundation of who you are, it comes right down to the individual, right? Tell us a bit more about your new platform. The answer is in the room, which I absolutely love. And how does that relate to staff members pretty much taking ownership,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So for many years, I worked for Save the Children, and I did work all over the country working with some of the poorest of poor and some of the wealthiest of wealthy. And when I would bring them together, it would be interesting because while they spoke different languages, they were saying the same thing. And I learned to listen to all of that and realize the answer was in the room. Really, if we can learn how to hear each other, we will recognize that each of us has a piece of the answer. None of us have it all, but if we're willing to believe in each other, the answer's in the room, and you learn the answer's in you. The room is actually inside of you. And so I launched this initiative, The Answer is in the Room, and the room is in you, to help people hear what's going on inside. If you can hear what's going on inside, you'll learn to confront some of your fears. You'll learn to recognize that you're not that different from the person next to you, regardless of their language. And together, the answer becomes such that we can work out all of our problems.
Exactly. But I also know that a lot of that comes with some apprehension, some form of fear, especially for Latinos and our Black community in the professional arena. You know, people are just working towards just doing what they're told, right? Even
Mhm,
if the situation is not the best, right?
mhm.
Because they're afraid to either lose their job or they don't want to ruff any feathers. You know, what do you say to those individuals that know that they can literally contribute, in a positive way if they lose that fear and actually do things together? Mhm.
Listen, one of the things that I find interesting is a lot of corporations, organizations are jumping to anti-racism training or anti-bias training. Here's the thing, most people aren't ready for that yet because they haven't learned how to listen. And so when corporations approach me and say, well, I come and do cultural diversity training or anti-racism training, I have to be honest and I have to overcome my own fear and say, no, you're not ready. You're not ready for that. Now that could cost me a contract because some of those corporations just want to check a box and say we've done anti-racism training. But I'm not going to waste my time or yours doing that kind of training. I am, however, going to try to help you understand that first we have to have an uncomfortable conversation. How about we learn how to hear each other and see each other not as competition, but as collaborators? How about we learn to see that each one of us has something to contribute? And the only way we can get there is by having the uncomfortable conversations. And it definitely takes more than one. It takes us a long time to get the courage to get the stuff from our gut up out of our mouth. And then to be able to hear that becomes even harder. And because we have to overcome our own fears to be able to hear that I may be causing you pain or that I may be causing myself pain and what's ever going on. So, really, I spend my time now helping people have uncomfortable conversations and recognize that our first step is to listen.
With so much noise around us, sometimes the solution is as simple as literally listening. So I'm really encouraged to hear you say that you start with the very foundation, and listening helps us understand each other a little bit more and go deeper. And I'm sure you would agree that it makes a much more healthier environment, and the teamwork is by far more effective. How do we get in contact with you, La-Verna?
I encourage people to please check me out at iamljfountain.com, iamljfountain.com, or you can check out just send me email at hello, iamljfountain.com. I prefer the email. Check out my website. I will be there for you. All you have to do is reach out.
Thank you so much. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention another incredible thing about you is your books. Would you mind just giving us, the title of your books, where we can find them and what they're about.
Well, I have two books that you can get. One is called The Alphabets of Life, A Simple Guide to Simply Living. I am currently working on an update of that book because I published that back in 1999. And so it needs to be updated. And my current book is called The Gold Coins, A Supernatural Adventure Inspired by True Events. So if you go to IamLJFountain.com, you will find a products page there. I encourage you to check out all the products. I have a different products there, including one that I think people can connect to, and it says "You matter." If nothing else, people can look at that and say they matter.
Thank you so much, La-Verna. I so appreciate you. We appreciate you here at the Chamber. Anything we can do to assist and continue to get the word out about your incredible work, you know, we're only a phone call away. You don't have to email. Just pick up that phone. You call me.
I will call you.
Number. All right.
You know, I will call you, and I love you, Sulma. I just love you.
Love you too. Blessings, my sister. All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, La-Verna.